Hi guys, it's Pete from MyJewelryBench.com. Today what we're going to do is review the Castable Green Resin from Phrozen with our Elegoo Mars and see how I end up getting very good prints that I can use for casting jewelry and making custom designs. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider hitting the subscribe button. And if you can, help share my channel because it helps my channel grow. Thanks for watching, guys, and let's get started. So because I do castable jewelry, mostly custom design work, I have to use good castable resins. Phrozen, actually, I was a little surprised at. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. And when I use it with my Elegoo Mars, I have to be very honest. I love the quality of printing that I'm getting from my Elegoo Mars in this Phrozen Green Castable Resin. One of the things that you have to remember if you're in the jewelry business, that most of the printers that we use in our industry are much more powerful, either a more powerful UV lamp or a more powerful laser. So these typical castable resins are made to work with much more powerful 3D printers than such as the Elegoo Mars, which is a desktop entry-level printer. However, you can get very good results, and if we compare what we see the settings here to be from the factory, 12 seconds at a 0.05 millimeter level, that's kind of utopia in my opinion with these small printers because they are such low power. But as you'll see, we're going to step into setting this up on the Elegoo Mars, what the settings that I'm using, that I'm getting excellent print results. And if you follow the instructions for the burnout that's on Phrozen's website, you will get a very clean burnout of this material from your casting material. So let's get started with the sheet 2 box settings. So one of the things that you have to consider when you're working with the Phrozen wax resin is how you place all of your supports. And you should do that when you're doing jewelry. Anyway, you should be very conscious of where your supports go because it can actually cause a problem with your print. So what I tend to do is I will select all objects when I'm adding my supports with castable resin. I will add everything, including the base and any supports I have there. Then I will select the delete support object, and I will delete any supports like this one that seem to be a problem. Anything that touches the side or rim of a ring that I'm going to print, like this, because it contacts up here, I will delete that. Also with this one. Anything that prints along the side that it will be difficult to clean up, I want to keep an open mind at that, because if it's difficult to clean up or leaves a mark on the ring, it's going to show up in casting. So once you've got your supports laid out basically the way you want them, then the next part would be to go to the settings area and make sure that your settings are correct. I'm just going to add in a few more supports here. And now that I've got that all done, I'll go back to my setup and settings. And again, we're looking at the Elegoo Mars. So how does this print with the Elegoo Mars? Let's take a look at the settings. First, we select our machine. Here's our scale of the display, our size, build area offset, no. Got my Elegoo Mars. The type of resin, although it says normal here, it is castable Phrozen Green. The print settings. Now these are very important. The best prints that I've been able to get on my Elegoo Mars are with these settings using the Phrozen Green Castable Resin. You will notice that there is a big difference in what the bottle says, but don't go by that. So we have a 0.04 millimeter height per layer, a bottom layer count of 5. Each of those 5 layers will be exposed for 80 seconds on the build plate. Then we will go to an exposure time for every remaining layer of 27 seconds. That works perfect on my Elegoo Mars with this green castable resin from Phrozen. These are also the bottom distance lift site settings, the lift distance, and any other settings that I have here. On infill, of course, none, because you want your castable pieces to be solid. And I do recommend that if you're going to print castable pieces, especially in jewelry, that you print with anti-aliasing off. The purpose for that is that anti-aliasing with like if you're printing a custom chess set piece or a lot of the figures, furniture designs, things like that. It's perfect for blending in areas that you don't necessarily want sharp details in. But on a ring where you have holes for gemstones, prongs, sharp defined spaces, and sharp designs, you really want to keep your anti-aliasing off when you're doing that. Once that's all done, you can go ahead and select slice. It'll slice this up. Now remember that because this is a castable piece and we are using castable resin at 27 seconds per layer, we're going to get a print time of about 6.5 hours. So keep that in mind. You can go ahead and save your file. Those are the print settings that I use with my Elegoo Mars, and they are working very, very well, and I recommend these with the Phrozen Green Castable Resin. So let's get started. Let's take a look and see what I've got coming off the printer, and we will take a look at some of the models I've printed. Here's some examples of some school rings that I'm working on for my addition to Blender Gems. These rings, I'm doing 20 rings, and each one of them is going to get printed and tested just so I know they print well. And you can see that these came out darn near perfect on my Elegoo Mars. I was very happy with the print quality. I was very happy with the detail on these rings, and I'm very happy with how this resin prints with the settings that I'm using. I did have some errors with some of the support. You can see some of the bumps and holes in my models, but I was just doing this for a test just to see how well they printed, and it worked out well. So overall, I am extremely happy. I say Phrozen Green Castable Resin with your Elegoo Mars is a perfect match for the jewelry industry. I think that this setup, for the cost of this resin, is usually under about $100 for 500 milligrams or milliliters, and I think you can do some fantastic designs with this. I see no reason why, if you follow Phrozen's instructions for burnout and use a vacuum to remove any air bubbles from your casting material, you should be able to get these cast just like you would castable wax. So far, so good. I have some test pieces that I'm working on now, and I'm going to send those out for casting to see how well they do, and hopefully they come back perfect. But so far, so good. Every castable piece that I've done so far with these has been a perfect casting, and my customers have been pretty happy. Overall, I'd say if you're going to do 3D jewelry design and use your Elegoo printer to do this, then Phrozen is one of the best castable resins I think you can get. Guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, considering subscribing, and anytime you can share any of my videos, I appreciate it, because sharing helps my channel grow. Take care and happy designing.